Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, May 9th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of quick clarifications. Number one, the price you see over here will be changed, and the candlestick you see right there will be moving around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time, but I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. And then second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one here, TRVN, big mover today and huge volume. And what I like about it now is some very well-defined levels. And well-defined levels are great because a lot of people are going to be watching them. And when a lot of people are watching the same levels and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So while there are no guarantees, my point here is that if the price can get back up to this area here at $3.30 and break through it, it's very valid to think that a break of that area, which has struggled so far, but if the price comes back up here and can push up through it, no guarantees, but valid to think that that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. So if you're a breakout player, definitely keep an eye on that. For those of you that more so like to play pullbacks, then there seems to be a good, potential area of support down there around $2.10. So keep an eye on that. And then from, the pattern player perspective, so if you like to just play patterns, maybe not the perfect example, but I think close enough. This could be considered a bull flag pattern. So if you like this price range, if you like bull flag patterns, certainly keep an eye on it. Next one here, PACW. Talked about this in the video from Friday. And yeah, price started off with a break up through that red line right there, resistance, but it was essentially a gap and trap as the price opened up, hence the gap up, and then just pulled right back. Now, the good news is it's not like it was a total collapse where the price dropped and then kept going further and further. Nothing like that. The price at least did start to go sideways here. So yes, is it a bad or good looking chart? That does depend on perspective. I mean, if you're a day trader and you bought right there at the high, then yeah, from that point of view, the chart was really, really bad and you had a really bad day. But if you care about the bigger picture of things, the price is still above that green line right there, which is the overall trend line. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance now up to that level, which is essentially right where the price got rejected. If you look back here, you can see that was where the price rejected from. And then once again, price rejected from, there we go, rejected from it right there. So point being, moving forward from more of an overarching standpoint, right up there at $7.50 is going to be an important level of resistance. And then from the support side of things, keep an eye on that green line there, because as long as the price does stay above that green line, then by default, by definition, that does imply that the price is still putting in those higher lows, which is what matters most from a bigger picture point of view. Next one here, IDEX, and like the first one we talked about, TRVN, same general idea here. Seems to be a very well-defined level right up here at essentially 5.5 cents. So a lot of people, you got to think, are noticing that level got or was rejected there, and then once again rejected this morning. So if the price can curl back upwards, get up to that level, and then push up through it, as I've said, no guarantees, but is it valid to think that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? In my opinion, that does seem like a valid thought process to have. In terms of levels of support, if you're looking to play more of a pullback, interesting level down here at that pink line there, which on my chart denotes the very famous 200 paired moving average, which has previously been acting as resistance. And then there's just the classic example in charting when levels of resistance are broken, they tend to act as support. So like I said, if you like to play more so pullbacks, keep an eye on that pink line. But I'd also say in regards to that pink line, if the price were to come down there and push down through it, that would be a big red flag that the bulls have a big issue. And again, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but just I would use that level as kind of a measuring stick of how healthy the bulls are remaining or not healthy. Next one, BLCM, and probably should have put this at the other location because we have, once again, the whole idea of pattern, self-fulfilling prophecy. So you got to think that a lot of people have drawn that trend line right there. And there's also a lot of people that are watching this area right there as a support. So let me change that to green to represent more so the support dynamic of things. And then I'll draw out the pattern. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because you've already heard me make all these talking points before. But we have our resistance. We have our support. We have the big explosion right there. For you golfers, I'll make it more visual, put a golf hole down here. So this will be known as a bull pennant pattern. So as I said, no guarantees, but if the price can come up here and get a break up through that pattern, could that break in and of itself create additional buying pressure? Absolutely. So if you like to play stocks right around the dollar range, you like bull pennants, keep an eye on it. Next one here, AMC, and overall, the chart's doing just fine. And I say overall because I realize that today, maybe not the most exciting day, or doesn't feel like the greatest day, given the fact that it pulled back a little bit here. But all things considered, and in fact, let me do this so you can offer up more context. All things considered, the price is still very, very clearly in an overall uptrend. In fact, if you look at where the lows have been, and we'll just start right there. So low right there, low right there, low right there. These lows continue to get higher and higher. So as I mentioned earlier, ultimately, that's what matters most. As long as the price is putting in higher lows, that's how uptrends are constructed. And I mean, from a real big picture, and I'll do this very crudely, but we have that downtrend line, we have that uptrend line, we have that move right there. So we'll call it a poor man's falling wedge there. Maybe we disagree. Maybe we should just call it a symmetrical triangle. Maybe that would be the better way to look at it. So there is still this symmetrical triangle. It is happening in an overall uptrend. So of course that doesn't guarantee that it's going to break to the upside. I don't think anybody would be shocked if the price were to break through the upside of that symmetrical triangle, given that the symmetrical triangle is happening within an overall uptrend. But like I said, overall, not the most exciting day, but the trend does still remain in the bull's favor. Real quick, wanted to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'll be offering later on in the week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, PLTR, good movement. And once again, I'm going to go through it relatively quickly because you've heard me talk about this already. So we have a well-defined level there, and I will make one special mention about that though. So it's not exactly, but same general idea. And then we have that support trend line right there. So let's get that changed to green to represent the support, and I just can't help myself. And then we'll make it one same color to make it hopefully easier to see. So resistance, support, upwards move right there. So bull pennant. But the one thing that I do want to point out is, even if the price comes up here and breaks through the top part of the pattern, I'd still be skeptical, because not that far away, you have the pink line right there, the 200 period moving average. Now, if the price comes up here, breaks through the top of the pattern, breaks through the 200 period moving average, that would be a very, very impressive sign on the bulls' part that not only do they have strength, the strength is seemingly getting stronger and stronger. But just as a warning, just because the price breaks through that level there, don't go throw your kids' college tuition fund into it, because there's still more work to be done. And again, the quote unquote work that needs to be done would be, can the price break up through that the 200 period moving average right there. But overall, nice pattern. So it'll be interesting to see that as the week progresses, can it break through both those key areas of resistance? And if it can, like I said, that'd be a very impressive sign on the bulls' part. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and I love this one for the pattern. So once again, as somebody that watches Tesla on a daily basis, when there's very well-defined patterns, then you can start to talk about those self-fulfilling prophecies. And in my opinion, we have that here, because I don't think I'm doing anything special by drawing a very basic trend line like that. And then on the flip side of things, also drawing this very basic trend line. So you got to think that a lot of people are watching. Let's call it this ascending triangle right here, where if the price can come up here and break up through there, then I can see whether you want to play calls or just buy the stock straight up. I would understand your logic, and just like the same logic, if it comes down here, I can understand why shorts may be looking to pick up puts, because they're thinking it's going to head downwards. But I can also understand the logic of long saying, no, I'm going to buy puts because I think it's going to bounce back up. So, and that's why risk management matters, because somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. But the core central dynamic here is there's going to be a lot of people watching both that line and that line. So, how does a self-fulfilling prophecy ultimately behave? Your guess is as good as mine. But the point here being is you can structure some trade plans around it. And then if you're right, fantastic. If you're wrong, like I said, that's why risk management matters. Next one here, FUBO. Talked about this one on Friday. Talked about that wedge pattern there. Got the breakout this morning with the gap up as the price opened there, and then never really looked back as it continued to grind higher and higher. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those lines as they've served their purpose for now. And first thing I'm going to do is, before we go searching out for resistance levels, let's just get one of the newest areas of support in, and that would be this level down here at the $1.65 mark, just based on the principle of when levels of resistance are broken. So that was the resistance that can tend to act as support. So if it does pull back, then that's an area to keep an eye on. But now for the fun part, let's go figure out where next potential areas of resistance are. And I realize the chart's getting hard to see, but that's because we're having to go back way into the chart's history here to try to figure this out. So it's looking like next potential area of resistance of the price. Let's I can't quite tell there. Yeah, it looks like about $1.90. So let's drag this across there. Yeah. So $1.90 next key level. And this is coming from way back here in early March. So we were talking about multiple months since the price has been up this high. But that is where the next key battleground comes from. $1.90. So I'll zoom back in here. But all in all, anyway, look at it. Huge volume, nice momentum. And as long as the price continues putting those higher highs and higher lows, that's what matters most. Next one, CVNN. I don't think, did I get that? No, I didn't get that right. CVNA, excuse me, I will repeat myself again. CVNA, that would be the ticker symbol here. And the one dynamic here that I'm very curious about is, yes, the price is above this previous high at, we'll call it $11.20, but we're getting some candles here that are suggesting that this break may not actually be truly strong. These upper shadows are, signaling potential pullback. Now, keep in mind, pullback is not the same as reversal, so I'm not saying this thing's going to reverse back down to $7, but in my opinion, I would be very scared to be buying, going long right now with these upper shadows right here. So like I said, in my mind, I'd wait to see how it behaves, see if there is some sort of pullback, and if there is a pullback, then of course nothing is guaranteed, but I think you can structure a little bit better risk-reward scenarios down here at $10.50, or if you even want a deeper pullback, potentially down there right around the $10 mark. But, who knows? I could be totally wrong. Maybe this is just a temporary breath and this thing is just going to keep ripping and roaring. I suppose that's always possible too. But like I said, for me, my personal strategy, these candles make me a little nervous. So I'd hesitate to call this a true breakout. I get it. The price is above that level of resistance, but I'm not quite convinced, and that's why I'm going to leave that a red line to represent resistance here. But we'll see if the price can, get some more separation, and maybe these candles ultimately don't mean much. Next one here, TQQQ, which is an ETF that measures the NASDAQ, and this will mean a bit more to those of you that have watched past videos. Let me squeeze this down some more. But if you have, you know that I've talked about this red line right here time and time again at 28.50. And when you know it, once again today, that's right where the price struggled. But you go back through the history, struggled. So while I'm not saying 28.50 is impossible to break, I'm just saying it makes sense why, once again today, the price ultimately had some problems right up that level. The good news is the price is still very close to it, so it makes sense. You're not being illogical to throw out the question, hey, maybe Tuesday's the day. Maybe Tuesday is the day where that level is finally broken, and that can generate, more momentum back to the upside on the breakout. That's very, of course, not for sure going to happen, but I'd understand why you'd be asking that question. So yeah, 28.50 key level there, and then on the flip side of things, $28 is that near-term level of support, which did do a good job of ultimately holding strong this morning. But in my opinion, at least, I think the most interesting dynamic, and the dynamic that most people are watching. So again, think about self-fulfilling type prophecy stuff, is all eyes on 28.50, and can the price break through it on Tuesday? Let's see what happens. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, then I want you to get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, May 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, please do two things for me. Hit the like button, leave a comment, tell me what you traded today, tell me what you're watching tomorrow. But those two things help out the channel, help out these videos. And as long as I know you're enjoying, I'll continue to put in the time and effort to get these watch list videos out to you. So again, get signed up for that class, hit that like button, leave a comment down below.